All right, good morning, guys. It is Wednesday, August 10th, so we shall jump in and do the damn thing here. So we got the CPI report this morning, and so far the reaction is pretty bullish. So for the futures here, the S&P futures up just about 2%. The QQQ futures up 2.5%. The Russell 2000 about 2%, and out of respect, we'll check the Dow futures, and the Dow is up about 1 and change. So pretty good reaction here so far, depending on how you're positioned. So I do think, guys, this could all, of course, this could all fall apart, this morning, this afternoon. But I do think market's probably got a pretty good shot here, on the S&Ps for that move through 4,200. And I know we talked about this a couple of days ago, but just kind of the idea that anybody getting short back here probably puts our exit orders somewhere above where they got short. So the S&Ps could kind of trigger those exit orders, run all those stops. Then maybe we get the flush. So things to take into consideration, and then a bit more bigger picture. Keep in mind, at some point, pretty likely that the market pulls back to that daily 21. But as far as like the bigger picture, the short-term path of least resistance, we check out the dollar here, the old Dixie, down about 1% and change this morning. If the Dixie can actually break the support level, let me clean all this up. But if the dollar here can break support and maybe even fire this daily squeeze to the downside, that in the short term probably sends the overall market a little bit higher. If the Dixie kind of holds up here at support, rallies back above that daily 21, then you probably get a bit of a dip in the market. So a few things to watch there, guys. Now, as far as a couple potential trade ideas right now, and I know we've talked about this every day, just a major thing you want to keep in mind, we are a little bit extended. So this never means that we have to pull back. It just means you want some context. Look for good entries, look for good setups. Just do that with the overall context that eventually the S&Ps could pull back a good $200. Structure of your daily chart is still good. So I am a firm believer we're looking to get our most aggressive on these flushes to that daily 21. So it's one of those things where, crowd's got a pretty good setup, right? Nice daily squeeze, good structure. I would like to buy this if we can get a couple of big three buy signals. This isn't extended, but the overall market's extended. So pretty much the reality is, you might find a great setup. You might take a perfect entry. You might have, 1 hour, 30-minute, 15-minute buy signals. But if the S&Ps and the QQQ decide it's time to pull back, pretty much everything's likely to pull back. So with that being said, guys, as far as a few things on the watch list, that little bit of, granted, it's kind of tough to see it in the S&Ps, but we did get a little bit of selling pressure yesterday. So as far as a few stocks I'd like to buy the dip in, some of them are still playing tough to get. So it looks like Apple here is going to open up around 168. Probably takes out the highs on the week. So as far as a good swing trade entry, I think you're going to wait for that next flush here in Apple. And remember, guys, that monthly chart, big bullish monthly squeeze. Until the structure changes, this all kind of suggests that squeeze fires long, which probably takes Apple into a brand new all-time high. The monthly charts can be a little bit slow to unfold, but I do think that's a pretty good backdrop, so to say, to try to buy the dip into. So no luck here as far as buying a dip in Apple. And then as far as Amazon, big Bezos here, that's going to open up at 142. So not too much to do there for a swing trade. Now Tesla, on the other hand, where are we going to open up? 890? Yeah, it's kind of tough. So I think for a swing trade on Tesla, and I do think pretty good shot here, market willing, that Tesla could make a run for $1,000 before that stock split, and I think we got the stock split on the 24th. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, the 24th. I think a good entry is kind of anywhere around 860 to 830, anywhere between that 21 EMA and +1 ATR. So the open at 890, not necessarily ideal, but pretty much the same thing, guys, as is Apple. Good looking daily structure, definitely one of the leaders right now, and you got a beautiful monthly trend with that's a 2-hour chart. Really bullish monthly trend with a big old whopping monthly squeeze. So let's see, Apple, Tesla, Amazon. Google's pretty attractive here. No buy signals just yet, but to me this is a little bit more attractive, for an entry right now, for a swing trade, than an Apple or a Amazon. We're a little bit closer to that 21. We got a daily squeeze that officially fires to the upside yesterday. So market willing, there's kind of that potential now. Google could try to trend higher for a good, 5 to 6+ days. Looking for a push up there towards 123. Now we're going to open at 119. Not the best entry in the world. So the case with these gaps to the upside, they can be a little bit tough as far as getting a good entry. So that's a few of the big tech names there, guys. And then another flush that we had yesterday was in the semiconductors. So I think if we're going to buy the dip in the semis, probably ideal that we get the SMH, good and strong back above that daily 21 EMA. You start to trade under that daily 21, you kind of run the risk of the short-term path of least resistance no longer being to the upside. So we're going to open at 235. That gets your semis back above that daily 21. So as far as a few of these characters, we probably all tend to watch NVIDIA. As far as NVIDIA goes here, guys, pretty good flush this week. I think they issued a earnings warning. For me, the key is pretty much, if we can get back above that daily 21, then if we can get some lower time frame buy signals on the big three, then I think it all sets up for a trade. Looking for a pushback towards 195. So NVIDIA's got some work here. That's going to open up around 176. So a little bit of work there for NVIDIA. Then if we jump over to AMD, going to open up around 98. Better structure, though. Get your first leg to the upside. First back test of the old 21. Big continuation. You get your next back test. So far, does a pretty good job of holding. So AMD might be worth a shot here. And we'll check a few more like Broadcom. If Broadcom pulls back, holds good structure. The Qualcomm, it's a bit sloppy. Micron. Yeah, for what it's worth, I kind of think AMD's got your best structure for now. But a big piece of the puzzle here is, can we get the SMH back above that daily 21 and continuing to trend into higher prices? And then if we look at a few more sectors here, guys, a lot of them are pretty similar. XLV's got some pretty good structure. So I think UNH, as far as a healthcare stock, this behaves like bullish trend. Nice push, little back test, nice push, little back test, nice push. Pretty good trend. You've got energy here, which is trying to clean up its act. So a couple names in energy look pretty good. You've got the utility sector, really strong. So probably not the best spot for a swing entry. We've got XLP. Holds pretty good structure here. So for XLP, you're thinking Procter & Gamble. Nice daily squeeze. Couple buy signals here might do the trick. So Procter's pretty solid. Big Pepsi. That's pretty clean. A little bit neutral, but good structure. Coca-Cola. A little quiet, but not too bad. So I think collectively, guys, the market is a whole, right? You check out your transports, you check out your industrials. Granted, we're a little bit overbought in most cases, but in terms of the short-term trend and structure, all looks pretty good here. I think between now and Friday, the question pretty much is, do we get one more nice push to the upside? Kind of squeeze these shorts one more time into the weekend, and at that point, the S&P's pretty much finished the mission of getting up there through 4,200 and triggering all those exit orders. Market's kind of got a knack at doing that. See the Qs here. Everything holds up pretty good. So collectively, guys, the market's pretty solid. We are a little bit overbought. So one of those things where, we might not pull back, but we're certainly going to get more entries and better risk reward when we do get a pretty good flush. So pick your spots wisely, just take into consideration. You might get a great entry in something like crowd, but if the market pulls back, probably takes everything with it. So we'll see what today brings, guys. For the things that are kind of trading closer to that daily 21, like a crowd, like Tesla, like Google. For me, really, it's just a matter of, do we get any buy signals? That's the combo. Get an entry in that daily 21, stack together a couple buy signals, as many as possible, and we're looking for that push towards +2. So as far as a few other things on the watch list, I am going to keep an eye on crowd here. Coiled up in a nice daily squeeze, good structure. 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute charts go bullish. Looking for a push towards 205. I've been keeping an eye on Zoom. Zoom gets a little bit sloppy yesterday. So that's kind of on the back burner for now. Been keeping an eye on ROKU. That's kind of on the back burner. We've been keeping an eye on Shopify, which this one holds up a lot better. So for those of you in the mastery, we're pretty much going to look at this for a repeat of the trade that we did last week. You're on top of that 21. Your 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute charts go from neutral to bullish. That can trigger the push towards that target of 2 ATR. So shop not too shabby. Not too shabby. And that's about it, guys. Not going to chase anything. Would love to get another entry in Tesla. So we bought the dip on Friday with a 950 1,000 debit spread, and we took that off on Monday morning. So kind of looking for something like that again. But in the short term, guys, I do think path of least resistance could be to the upside. But a dip would do us a lot of favors as far as the next round of good entries. And then we'll see if the dollar can actually break support today. Start firing that daily squeeze to the downside. It'd do the market some favors. So for those of you in the options room, I'll be with y'all for the open. So we'll be live in there in like 20 minutes. And then for those of you in the mastery, we'll be live tomorrow and what's today? Wednesday? Yeah, we'll be live tomorrow and Friday. But that's what I got, guys. Be patient today. Be disciplined as always. Have your rules and stick to them. But if you guys got anything you want to take a look at, any chart requests, throw them in the chat here, and we'll bang them on out. We'll bang them out. Oh, Aaron, all right, so ROKU getting downgraded probably doesn't help its case. Or being that we kind of live in like the upside down world now, maybe the downgrade sends ROKU to $100. I do think a lot of it will come down to the market. But structurally, this is kind of just a little bit too iffy for a bullish trade just yet. No backbone to it. You can only get a good backbone when you're hanging above that daily 21. Where's your merch? Hey, I've been trying to tell the Simpler team, we got to get some merch options going. I'm a big fan of hoodies. I like me a good hooded sweatshirt. I'd rock that everywhere. I don't go too many places, Miss Janice, but I would rock it everywhere. Janice, good to see you. Good to see you as always. Mr. Quinto. I think I know this guy. What's up, my man? I know you said it doesn't have to pull back, but we look for bearish signals on other stocks. Yeah, good question, Quint. I mean, if anything out there fit my bearish criteria, I'd be looking for a short. Pretty much for me, wherever the signals are, I'll take them bullish or bearish. In terms of, not even just so much in terms of like the probability of the trade working, but more so from the perspective of like the size of the current opportunity set. What I've found is it's kind of difficult to find a lot of good shorts when the S&Ps kind of cancel out those sell signals, and we're working on improving the short-term trend and structure. When we're trending under that daily 21, the S&Ps that is, then you've got a lot of good opportunities. When the S&Ps have bearish structure and we got those sell signals, pretty much you're going to see the same thing in XLK. You'll see the same thing in the semiconductors. You'll pretty much see the same bearish structure and sell signals across the board. So I'd take them if I could find them, but that has been a little bit tough. Somebody called that one in the gold room yesterday. Actually looked like a good short. I can't think of it right now. But yeah, if I could find them meaning, hey, here's something trending under the daily 21, and we've got a bunch of sell signals, then I'd look for the shorts. Now, of course, we could look to play the move back to the daily 21. Amazon, who maybe takes out the high here today, at some point it's going to pull back. That's kind of more so, okay, we're looking for signs of exhaustion. We're not going to have too many sell signals up here after Amazon's been pumping itself, full of steroids for 3 weeks. That's more so, okay, we're running out of gas. If we don't have any buy signals, we're probably getting ready for a pullback. So two different types of trades. Hey, what's up, morning? What's up, morning? What's up, Mike? Good morning. Good morning. Anil, it's a good question, but a tough question. Now, if we're going to have kind of the thought process, which isn't a bad thought process, but if we're going to think along the lines of, as long as Tesla's trending higher, we're probably going to see the overall market, like the S&Ps and the Qs, do the same. Well, from that perspective, Tesla gets to $1,000. I think we should expect the S&Ps to trade, well above 4,200. We're basically knocking on the door, and for Tesla to get to $1,000, that's maybe another $120. That's a really big move. So I kind of think, you look at names like Apple, you look at names like Tesla, Amazon, a little bit of leadership right now. Put it this way, as long as they're strong, it does the overall market some favors. So that's kind of the way I look at it. If Tesla is strong enough to push to $1,000, probably means the overall market is a bit more supportive of that kind of move. Where if the S&Ps just fall apart and we're getting sell signals, we're just really breaking down, that kind of makes it tough for Tesla to go on ahead and rally. So that's kind of the way I look at it, if that makes sense. Mike, yeah, we'll check out the VIX here, Mike. Let's take a peek at that bad boy. And then we'll take a look at Tractor Supply. It's a tough spot to want to load up on a bunch of, swing trades to the upside. Now, if the VIX takes out 20 here, it could trade even lower, which, obviously would send the market a lot higher. I think right now, guys, at least in the short term, kind of look at this as, okay, if we're going to trade higher from here, this is maybe like the last 15% of the move. In other words, like for the short-term push, this is kind of like the easiest part of it. We're up here at 2 ATR. We're up here at major resistance. Yeah, maybe we go a little bit further. But kind of look at this as, this has been a good movie, but we're a little bit closer to the end. So as far as VIX goes, I think you're kind of seeing the same thing there. Like, yeah, that could break lower. That would trigger the S&Ps and the Qs, the whole market, to trade a little bit higher. But I wouldn't really bank on VIX getting down here to like $15. So this kind of feels like we're getting kind of close to that point in time when everyone gets a little bit too complacent holding their bullish trades. Market's a little bit too overbought. We're running out of gas. Then you probably get the spike in volatility and the flush in the market. So definitely keep a close eye on it. I can't remember the exact saying, nor can I remember who said it. But there's a quote in trading pretty much like, there's no game plan for the last 15% of the move. In other words, we're trying to be our most aggressive, trying to take home as much profit as possible on the quote-unquote easy part of the move. From my perspective, we're playing the ebbs and flows of a trend, bullish or bearish. Quote-unquote easy move is basically the move that we've seen here, from that daily 21 up here towards 2 ATR. There might be a little bit left, but my number one goal is making sure, okay, if I'm going to try to get a little bit more, what I don't want to do is if I get caught up in this, I don't want to give back all the profits I made on the way up, on the easier part of that move. So that's kind of how I'd watch VIX for now, Mike. All right, Tractor Supply. Kind of a tough read here. We're neutral on the big three, so no real suggestion in terms of, path of least resistance is to the upside or the downside. Now, as far as the structure goes, I'd lean a little bit more short as long as we're under that daily 21 EMA. If you keep hanging out under that daily 21, you're kind of asking for a little bit of trouble. So for a bullish trade here, I'd like to see a couple of things. One or two closes back above that daily 21, and then a couple of buy signals on the lower time frames. Neutral under that 21 doesn't necessarily mean it's going to flush. Just means it's kind of lacking a lot of the characteristics of something getting ready for a big push to the upside. So I think either which way, I'd probably wait for a little bit more clarity there. All right, guys, let's see what we got. Yeah, Chaz, and I think that would make sense. Yeah, if we got a bit of 425, 430, yeah, I think putting on some shorts up there, even if we're just looking for a nice flush, yeah, that'd make sense at that point. The goose would be a little bit cooked, one would imagine. But we'll see what she's got today. All right, guys, making sure we got all the questions here. T-Mobile, let's take a peek. My fiance and I switched to T-Mobile last year. For what it's worth. You know what? Pretty good chart here. Now you can say that about a lot of the market. Kind of looks like the S&Ps. Kind of looks like the QQQ. So it's pretty much faced with the same issues. It's got good structure. Fires a daily squeeze to the upside. So in the short term, this looks bullish. But as far as my trading game plan goes, this has kind of made the easy move. So there could be a little bit more. It probably depends on the market. But as far as structure goes, I think this is pretty solid all the way down to like 140. And if we got back to 140 and held, to me, that's the ideal entry. Because then you can capitalize on that full push back towards +2. Right? You can get your money's worth on the easier part of the move. And that's not so much a T-Mobile thing. That's just that's where we are in the market. Might be a little bit more left, but where you're going to lock in those really good, risk-reward trades, taking home those 80, 90, 100% returns, in my opinion, that's on the entries back here at that 21. So we'll see when we get the next round of some good old-fashioned dip buying. But all right, my friends, I got to cut you loose here. Going to go heat up the coffee, and then I got to jump into the options room in about 5 minutes. But I hope you all found this helpful. And like I mentioned, for those of you in the mastery, we'll be live tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Central, and then on Friday, same time, same channel. But for the rest of y'all, thank you for your time this week. Chandler will be live with you on Friday, and then as always, I will hit you with the Sunday watch this video sometime Sunday afternoon. So have a great day, guys and gals. Be disciplined, and we'll talk soon.